welcome to the Enterprise World magazine. Today, we are excited to feature a visionary leader who is redefining how individuals and organizations approach growth, transformation, and meaningful change. As the founder of Change Institutes, she is dedicated to empowering people with the tools, mindset, and frameworks needed to navigate change with confidence and clarity. Her work focuses on personal development, leadership transformation, and building resilient systems that enable sustainable progress in the ever evolving world. Through her leadership, Change Institutes is helping individuals and organizations move beyond limitations, embrace adaptability, and create lasting impact across industries and communities. Please join me in welcoming the most dynamic leadership to watch in 2026, Ms. Roshni Javiad. Okay, thank you for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you very much, Khushbu. Thank you very much for that warm welcome.
Okay, so we have a few segments planned for you. First segment is a long format where you can give your answers in a bit detailed format if you wish to. Then we have rapid fire. Then we have future, we talk about change and future discussions. Okay, so I'll quickly get into the segment one. To begin with, yeah, could you walk us through your professional journey and what inspired you to establish Change Institutes?
A great start for us. Well, my journey has never been linear. It has had its set of ups and downs. But it's always been intentional, very clear. I made a conscious decision at a very early stage of my life after the demise of my father. That was as early as 12th grade. I was at crossroads and I was clear not to be and step away from conventional security. When one faces crossroads, the thought is always financial security. I term as conventional security. But I made a conscious decision to step away from that conventional security, deal with those hardships, to build something that creates not surface value change, but real transformation.
Correct.
Because that is what I really noticed: people facing hardships, professionals facing hardships, students facing hardships.
Okay.
What led to Change Institutes was a pattern. It was a pattern, a repetitive pattern that I noticed across industries and business schools. As a freelancer at the beginning of my career, while working very closely with the corporate, I was also with multiple business schools and technical colleges pan-India. And this is where I noticed people or professionals and students did not lack knowledge, skills, or talent. They lacked small gaps in terms of behavior alignment.
Right.
Or as one term called communication, which was never paid attention to. In Indian system of education, if you notice and get back, communication was always at the last of the list.
Right.
And to certain colleges, it never existed. So this pattern persuaded me to notice the gap and bridge that gap. I didn't want to build another training company. I just wanted to build and create a system that helps professionals be seen, noticed, be heard, and perform at their highest level consistently.
Amazing.
So sustainability became a part of their life.
That's amazing. Amazing. Okay. Quickly, I'll move on to my next question. So, what do you think was the core problem or gap, that you identify that led to the creation of the organization?
As I mentioned before, it was not something that I
Yeah,
was the only one who noticed. I am sure various
a lot of
experts
people.
noticed it,
Yeah.
have been there and noticed that. And what is the real gap I noticed was integration, not treating them as separate verticals. Integration of knowledge, skills, and attitude. Now, this integration also keeps changing with the dynamics of the business environment. And that is where I stood out because many training organizations, or perhaps competitors also, continue with the same formula of integration of knowledge, skills, and attitude. But it remained through generations.
Yeah.
Something that was not noticed is it keeps changing.
Right.
And adapting to that integration, what changes it needs to face was very important. We all are aware organizations invest in technical expertise. I call it the cognitive download, but struggle with execution because L&Ds function at one part of the year or twice a year and stop there. Post-training support and accountability to application is not consistent.
Right.
Right? So these factors needed perfect alignment. That's
Right.
the gap we addressed through structured frameworks and
Right.
systems. Yeah.
That's true. That's true. Okay, so how do you define change in today's fast paced personal and professional landscape?
Well, uh, it's so beautiful that the term change today itself has changed.
Yeah.
So change today is not an event that happens once, it's a continuous capability.
Right.
We live in the fastest paced world, I guess, that we've ever noticed. So this demands continuous capability of adapting. So change today for me is not an event, it's continuous capability. In fact, it's the ability to recalibrate intermittently. This is something that I specify. Recalibrate intermittently with every aspect. It could be behavior, which certainly starts off with thinking,
Mm-hmm.
to and moves down to communication in real time
Right.
without losing your core identity. Be you, but there are small shifts. Those who succeed, I often say, are not going to be the most talented or the most intelligent. They are the most adaptable with clarity.
Right. That's true. That's true. Okay. So, what are the most common challenges individuals and organizations face when they are trying to implement meaningful transformation?
Most transformation efforts fail because they remain conceptual. I call it the textual approach. Again, to cognitive download. Number two, we've always noticed resistance always faces change. So for me, common challenges is one, they remain conceptual.
Yeah.
Two, resistance is masked as logic.
Correct.
3, overconsumption of knowledge without execution, without room for execution and execution in general.
Correct.
If you ask me, real change happens only when behavior shifts not only during success, but also during pressure.
Right.
Because the process has something to share.
That's correct. That's correct. So, okay, how does Change Institutes help clients move from one awareness to actual measurable change?
I don't like that term that you coined, measurable change.
Oh,
right? Change should be measurable.
yeah.
We focus heavily on applied transformation, not just conceptual, not repetitive download of information. Our approach is not content heavy. Sometimes we do not work around worksheets or anything in writing. It's behavior heavy. Learning through simulation technique, real-time conversations and case studies from different industries, and accountability structures, which I often emphasize. We ensure that learning is not just understood, because I personally, as an executive coach and strategic consultant for leadership of C-suite, I explain knowing and doing are different.
Correct.
So we do not want people who know. We want people who apply and demonstrate. So it's not just understood, but demonstrated and repeated. We use a technique called accountability in every session, where they demonstrate what applied transformation took place with every piece of learning. That's how awareness becomes performance and performance becomes culture.
That's right. Okay. So, can you share some key programs, frameworks, or methodologies that differentiate your approach here?
Yes, we do work on different frameworks.
Yeah.
And do you want to know something in particular?
No, maybe you can give us a more bit of, what are the key frameworks that you use when you say, how it is different, how it differentiates from others? What are the key frameworks that you use?
Yes, as I mentioned before, it's around two major frameworks that I can put right now in simple terms. Inward to outward approach. You align inward, and that is when you are able to transform and provide responses externally. So one of the most important framework is inward to outward approach.
Correct.
Which also helps us to align better. Align the behavior alignment, what I'm talking about. So this inward to outward approach helps us clearly create conscious, intentional, influential leadership. At the same time, we have a framework especially for communication mastery, which I call crucial conversations. And this is another framework where we specialize even in simple aspects as responses, where I often say response rate plus response type is equal to outcome. So we have behavioral alignment, we have communication mastery, we have culture performance integration. So how do you create performance integration with culture of an organization. Every program is designed to think deliberately,
Mm-hmm.
speak and show under pressure.
Right. That's true. Okay, one last question in this segment, and then we are done with the segment. So, could you share a success story or a case study that highlights the real world impact of your work?
Let me, without mentioning the name and organization, let me talk about a client recently, a leader who we worked and I worked very closely with. One of the major setbacks he noticed was inability to engagement, that is client engagement,
Mm-hmm.
dealing with rejection,
Mm-hmm.
and handling and retaining clients. While
Correct.
we evaluated through various aspects,
Mm-hmm.
we found a very simple simple flaw which brought a major loss, and that was as simple as one tone, two response, three the ability to continue a conversation or the ability to work in engagement. Engagement today has become a very difficult task for many professionals. Many professionals, they stop speaking and have no questions. So,
Right.
helping a person understand the law of back and forth conversation
Yeah.
to, to longevity of a conversation
Right.
helped him identify, make the required changes,
Right.
which changed the dynamics of his business. And that precision and framework really worked wonders. So, if you ask me what was the result,
Yeah.
it was the best, stronger client trust and
Oh.
higher value conversations.
Oh, amazing.
So, yes, I help people understand the aspect of higher value conversation. That's the difference between skill and transformation.
Amazing. Amazing. Okay, so with that, we end our segment one. Like, segment two is rapid fire, where you have to quickly answer in a word or in a sentence. Okay, it's about leadership, change, and impact. All right, so one word that defines your leadership style.
Influential and intentional.
Oh, amazing. A key trait every change leader must have.
High self awareness.
Amazing. One habit that helps you stay adaptable in uncertain times.
Daily reflection.
Amazing. A common misconception about change management.
That is always uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, the most rewarding part of your work.
That's the best part. Watching people operate beyond their previous identity.
Amazing. Okay, one mindset shift that can transform a person's life.
What is this preparing me for?
That's deep. Okay, your personal mantra for growth and transformation.
Depth over speed. Embrace setbacks. Come back stronger.
Amazing, amazing. Okay, so let's go to our segment three. I must say you did very well in the rapid fire round. I mean, it was quick
Hopefully.
and it was very spontaneous. Okay, segment three is about leadership in a minute. In a minute, okay. So, if you had to share one powerful message with aspiring leaders and individuals navigating change in their lives and careers, what would it be?
The leaders
Yeah,
who will matter in the next era
right.
will not be the fastest, but the deepest. So it's going to be depth over speed.
Yeah.
They always show up. That every sign of leadership does. But in what I need to share is leaders who will matter next would be the ones who would look deep.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. Okay, with that, let's move on to our fourth segment, the future of change and transformation. So I'm gonna quickly ask a few questions, and then we are done with the entire interview. Okay. Looking ahead, what major trends do you see shaping the future of personal and organizational transformation?
Yes. We all, AI has become a cliche more than a buzzword now, right? So the
Yeah.
first thing that would actually occur is human-centric leadership. This is going to stand out. Of course, yes, we are also talking about hyper-personalized learning.
Mm-hmm.
Every professional and organization would look up to personalized, yes, but here it moves one step ahead, hyper-personalized learning, while they learn
Correct.
at their pace as well.
Correct.
Third would
That's right.
be definitely AI supported development.
Mm-hmm.
That remains in the background. So there would be AI supported development, but what I would look out that would stand out is human centric leadership in hyper personalized learning, because the future belongs not to those who can just have technology, but
Mm-hmm.
those who can combine technology with emotional and communication intelligence. This will stand out.
That's true. That's true. Okay. How is Change Institutes preparing to address the evolving challenges of rapidly changing world?
While considering the three noted points, they
Yeah.
become our pillars and framework based on which we would continue to build most of our programs.
Right.
While we offer cohort and one-on-one executive programs, accountability and structured transformation journeys go beyond one-on-one or cohort. So these become ecosystems, creating communities where the framework, what I mentioned, remains, with combining emotional and communication intelligence.
That's right. That's right.
We are
You
not
were
just building
mentioning.
programs.
Yeah, yeah, right. And I'll just go back to you were mentioning about AI. So I really would like to ask, what role will technology such as AI and digital learning and data-driven insights play in enabling transformation?
I lost you. Could you repeat that?
Oh, sure. Okay. So, what role will technology such as AI, digital learning platforms, or data driven insights play in enabling transformations?
In enabling, they
Yeah.
certainly help us work on decisions.
Yeah.
They definitely would help learning systems work with decisions or perhaps provide better structures and framework. But what I have to share is AI will accelerate learning. It will accelerate. It can
Correct.
also provide us more information, also provide us frameworks, but it cannot replace human judgment,
That's true.
emotional intelligence, feedback, and influence. So this is something that would stand out. The
Yeah.
real opportunity lies in integrating with communication mastery, which will always remain despite any kind of technology.
That's true. That's true.
So we are talking about an era of accelerated learning, better decisions, but cannot replace human judgment, cannot replace a feedback system which talks to the senses and emotions of a human being with presence.
That's correct. That's correct. Okay, one last question, and then we're done with all the segments. How do you envision the future of leadership in a world that demands constant adaptability?
While I answered this question before,
Mm-hmm.
I would repeat leadership will no longer be defined by authority and titles,
Right.
but by influence, adaptability, and depth. The leaders who will thrive will be those who can navigate through all this and then work with engagement. I would say masters of engagement with better conversations.
Right. Right. Okay, that's true. Let's wrap it up. Okay. Thank you for sharing your insights and your inspiring vision for transformation and growth. Your work highlights the importance of embracing change, not as a challenge, but as an opportunity to evolve, innovate, and create lasting impact. We also look forward to seeing change institutes continue to empower individuals and organizations to thrive in an ever changing world. All right. So, for the audience, we'll be back soon with more conversations featuring visionary leaders and change makers right here on the Enterprise World magazine. Thank you so much, Roshni. It was
Thank you
a
very much, Ishmael.
genuinely, it was a pleasure talking to you, knowing you in person.
Thank you very much for coming up with very interesting questions.